I'm mad. I was about to get ready to make fun of my friend for flipping over a white e-boy on TikTok, but then she showed me the TikTok. So I might have followed. Yo, what's up everybody? Hey, it's Liz, pleasure to meet you. Hopefully you're doing well on this wonderful day. So, I had this idea sitting in the shower, like I get a lot of my ideas for these kind of rant style videos. This isn't really a rant video, but it might turn into a rant video because y'all know I tend to get very heated, especially when we talking about, you know, K-pop and their history of cultural appropriation and all of that stuff. This isn't really meant to be a rant. This is meant to be more of a discussion video. So let's discuss, shall we? Do any of you guys truly think that any of the big four K-pop companies would ever actually debut a group with a black person in them? Like, feel free to let me know in the comments, but I really want you to ask yourself, like, genuinely think about it, because I know a lot of us off rip are probably like, no, probably never. But really think about it. And by big four, I mean YG, SM, JYP, and Big Hit, because even though I know Big Hit kind of edged YG out of the big three, I still want to count all of them because they are the biggest K-pop companies out there right now. My answer is a little bit mixed, and here's what I'm going to explain to you why. On one hand, I kind of feel like I would love for a group underneath any of the big four to have a black person in them, because I feel like it would be great representation, number one. It would make a great statement on racism within South Korea, because that's the one thing everybody always talks about is how racist South Korea is. And I just think it would be a great thing overall. It would be super cool to see somebody who possibly looks like me in one of these companies that has a few of my favorite groups. You know what I mean? It would be really sick. But on the other hand, when I really think about it, I'm kind of like, do I want that to happen? Because regardless of whoever it is, let's say that it's a K-pop stan who was on Twitter, let's say, who manages to make it through the whole trainee, like the audition thing, and ends up being a trainee at, let's say, I don't know, JYP or something like that, and end up debuting in a K-pop group. You know there's going to be motherfuckers dedicating their whole lives to finding their accounts, researching everything that they've ever done in their lives, and looking for any and everything that they can nitpick and be like, look what this person did, and people are going to try their hardest to shame that person into leaving the group. In my heart of hearts, being a person who's been a K-pop stan for all of this time, who's very seldom seen anybody in K-pop who even looks even remotely like me, because even a lot of the black K-pop idols who do come up are, well, about half of them are light-skinned, because they're either mixed with Korean or they're just light-skinned in general. We do have people like Hyunmin, who is dark-skinned, and we have people like Fatu, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing her name wrong, and Black Swan, who is dark-skinned, but a lot of them are lighter-skinned, you know? So for me personally, like the little, you know, inner child in me, I guess, would kind of be like, wow, like someone who looks like me. If any of these K-pop companies would do it, who would be the company to do it? Who do you think? Honestly, asking a lot of my friends and asking myself, we all seem to agree that Bighit seems to be the only company that would actually do it, and then do it in a respectful manner. See, here's the thing. One of my friends, I asked 3 of my friends who are K-pop stans what they thought about this topic, and they, you know, gave me their answers. Something interesting that one of my friends brought up was that he thinks that while it would be great overall, of course, some companies may use that black member as a scapegoat to excuse all of the cultural appropriation that they may or may not do with that company or with that group. And if any company is gonna do that, y'all know it's gonna be SM, because them motherfuckers do not give a fuck. I could see YG doing it as well. If I were to rank them, I would say Bighit would probably do it. Like, Bighit's probably at like a 8. I feel like they're most likely to do something like that, and then do it respectfully, given Big Hit has had their problems in the past. Of course, Big Hit are not angels, but I feel like they could be able to do it and then treat them like an actual member of the group. I don't see them doing the most. I don't see them making it like a big deal and doing like I could see them just hiring this black woman or black man or whoever, having them train like they normally do with any of their other Korean idols, and then having them debut and just letting them be themselves. And that's all we really asked for, honestly, because that was the problem with Alex and BP. What the fuck was that? It was like she was never really given the opportunity to just be herself. Like, she got a verse, yeah, but, you know, she was allowed to walk on stage, do her verse, and then leave. She was never really allowed to perform with the rest of the girls. She was never really allowed to show her talent like the rest of the girls were allowed to. And that's all we really need. Like, nobody's asking for the black, you know, the one black person to be the leader of the group or to be the front runner of the group, and nobody else pay attention to anybody but her, and da-da-da-da. Although it would be nice to have a black girl who's the ace of the group, who could be like a main vocal, lead vocal, whatever. It would be sick. It would be, you know, visual of the group, whatever. I'd love that. But just to have somebody who's treated the same way that the Korean members are treated, that would be perfectly fine in my opinion. I would be totally 100% okay with that, just that. Another point that one of my friends, Kiko, brought up, she mentioned the fact that anybody who isn't Asian within the K-pop sphere doesn't get very far. Even white people who we've talked about on this channel, and I have to admit, you know, I did talk shit about Lana and I did talk shit about EXP Edition, but given they didn't really get that far because it's hard for anybody who isn't Asian to really get anywhere within the K-pop sphere. Something else that I do want to say as well, because an argument that I'm sure is going to be made is that, well, South Korea is racist, so da-da-da-da-da. Why is it that people don't seem to want to change the racism? You know what I mean? It's like people just say South Korea is racist and then use that as a blanket statement to overall excuse all of the fucked up, like the cultural appropriation and the making fun of and the colorism and the anti-blackness and everything. They just use that as a cover-up for everything. Well, South Korea is racist. Okay, yes, we do know that South Korea is racist, but are they going to do anything to change that though? I think that if anybody out there, if anybody was to make a statement on racism within Korea, I think it would be a great idea if it was one of these bigger K-pop companies, because what bigger industry has come out of South Korea than K-pop music, other than maybe the skincare industry? You know what I mean? Everybody always has eyes focused on K-pop. So why not take the chance? Especially when it comes to labels like Big Hit and like YG, who are so heavily focused on black culture. A lot of their music, a lot of their artists are hip hop oriented. So why not? I still do not understand this idea that people have. And what's fucked up about this is that it's not even just Korean people who have this idea. It'll be non-Korean people just, you know, yelling at me in the comments about this, that, and the third, who have this idea that black people should be gatekept out of K-pop, even though K-pop is built off of black culture. Even though South Korea makes such a heavy profit off of black culture. There are so many Korean people walking around in dreads and box braids and cornrows like it's fucking good times. I don't know why I said that. Walking around like that, but they see a black person and go, ew, go back to your country. Like, that doesn't make sense. That's why I kind of feel a type of way, and people love to ask me, especially on my Paradox of Being a Black K-pop stan video, people are like, well, why don't you just unstan? I kind of feel like, why should I be made to unstan when this music is so heavily built off my culture? A lot of my favorite groups out there, BTS, GOT7, Stray Kids, I'm looking around and shit, Red Velvet, because Red Velvet has a heavy R&B influence. A lot of my favorite groups, their entire image is based within black culture. You can't tell me NCT was not built off black culture from jump, girl. It's important, and something else that my friend Kiko pointed out, she was like, it would help that the company that they're under tries their hardest to actually protect the idol from the malicious comments, because you know they're gonna get it. Bighit is a good option. I could see JYP doing it in a weird fucked up way, even though that nigga did blackface before and is notoriously anti-black. I could see it. I kinda could see it. For YG, I'm kind of unsure, actually, the more I think about it. Would they do it? Would they actually do it? I don't know, because honestly, real shit, motherfuckers be cowards. Motherfuckers be real cowards. I've thought about this a lot. Especially in the wake of the BLM protests of last year and everything. I was kind of thinking, why don't any of these bigger companies actually take a stand and say something? Like, we know SM ain't gonna say shit, whatever. But let's say in Big Hit's case, because we've had, you know, BTS donate to BLM and everything. So why don't they make a public statement? Why doesn't Big Hit just say, you know, we don't stand with racism, if we don't stand with prejudice, you know what I mean? Why don't they just say something? Why don't they show? Because I feel like I was saying, why not? That would be such an amazing platform to say it with, because Big Hit is so big, because BTS are so big. Hell, if somebody like JYP or YG even were to say something, even with the fucking history in the past of the negative shit, why not use that platform to say something? I just wonder why they don't do it. Because of course there's not going to be any change. Of course course South Korea is still racist after all these years. Nobody's really, from what I can see, I don't know what's going on over there, so I could be wrong. I could be 100% wrong, and I acknowledge that. Seems like nobody's really taking nobody with the influence and the power is actually taking charge and being like, we should not be this way as a country. It should not be accepted that we are this way. At the end of the day, will they do it? Probably not. Because motherfuckers are cowards. Probably not. But honestly, we don't know. There could be a few black trainees underneath some of these big companies, but we would never know. Me personally, I would love for Big Hit to come out with a girl group. Let's do it like this. Big Hit comes out with a 5-piece girl group with 2 Korean members, 2 Japanese members, and a black girl. Don't you? This has just been my opinion. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. That's all I really have to say. I tried to film this video about 16 fucking times. I don't know why it took me forever. I don't know why I was so stressed out about it. I think I was worried about people's opinions of this video, like people coming in the comments and like talking shit, you know what I mean? I was expecting the worst, so subconsciously while I was making this video, I was kind of like, oh no, people are gonna hate this video, and it was like really hampering the video. But I had to like sit down and like go take a drink and like look in the mirror and go, hey bitch, say what the fuck you want to say, and if somebody doesn't like it, then who the fuck cares? And at the end of the day, if you don't agree with anything that I'm saying, that's fine. You can just move on with your life. It's really not that big of a deal. Yeah, that's it. I'ma go. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like. If you have not subscribed and you would like to subscribe, buttons down there. I'd appreciate it a whole bunch. Description are links to a few things. There's some important information down there regarding everything that's going on in the world. If you would like to check that out, feel free. Social medias also, so you can feel free to do whatever you want with that. So I'm gonna go make some noodles. So bye.